Hello, this is David Gray reporting from the Bing Lounge, and this is KINK Live.
David, it is so good to see you again.
There you are.
Yeah, I'm right over here. I'm going to come out closer to you. So David and I kind of go way back to a very embarrassing time in my career, and I'm wondering if you remember it. It's the first time that I met you. I'm a new person at KINK, and I'm in the Salt Lake City airport rushing back to Portland to interview none other than David Gray. And I'm sitting at the airport, and there's this handsome guy sitting across from me. He's got on this beautiful scarf and these gorgeous shoes, and we start talking about my work, and he said, "So, what do you do?" And I told him, I want to see if you remember what happened after this.
Yeah, I said, watch out, he's a bit of an arsehole.
I had no idea that I was sitting across from David Gray. And it occurred to me in the moment that he said that he did have the British accent, that I'd heard he was very handsome, that he dressed very well, and I didn't even have the wherewithal to say, I'll be interviewing you tomorrow. I think I just, at that point, put my head down and scurried on to coach. I was shocked that an artist could be flying coach.
Yeah, I blow it all on the shoes, that's the problem. So, economy flights, but good shoes, that's my rule.
So we spent that time in the old Bing Lounge, the new Bing Lounge. What do you think? We've moved up in the world.
It's like a cinema,
Yeah.
I'd like to watch an art movie of my choice once we've finished.
So Mutineers is his new album. It's an incredible album. And David, one of the things that I love about this is you inverted your songwriting process. Can you talk about that a little?
I did, yeah. I changed things up in many ways. I was looking for something different, a new nuance to what I was doing. I needed to shake it up. That was where I'd got to. So it was a bit of a difficult album to make. Anyway, part of the process was in the writing. The recording was a whole other thing that got turned on its head. But instead of writing like a melody, I would, which is my usual thing, you feel the chord structure and then the mood of the chord. So if it's meet me on the other side, this is the bit that would come first. And that atmosphere would then breed feeling. And from there, the melody would spring from the rhythm that's innate in the chords. And beyond that, the lyric would then attach to the melody. And then other sections of the song would develop out of the basic start. So the way that I changed things was, one of the ways was to work back from ideas, so lyrics, back into music. It doesn't sound like a profound thing, but it was a completely different process, because it sort of disarmed my sense of taste. I think when a melody comes to me, I believe it straight away. Whereas working back into melody, I wasn't really sure whether I had anything of any merit at all. So I think I thought that was a helpful thing, because I was trying to escape my usual formulaic approach to making, and to find a way for something else to happen. So Birds of the High Arctic, for example, it allowed me to, that's a slight, almost overwrought concept for a song, but it wouldn't never ordinarily arise through the other system, because you're never going to fit words like that together onto a melody. But then I work back from, like the birds of the high Arctic, and then the song grew from this. Like the birds of the high Arctic. Oh, yeah. Like the birds of the high Arctic. And I could hear these sort of growing harmonies, I suppose, which layering the voice was another big part of what I was doing. Just to get away from the density of my voice at the front of everything, to layer everything, look for a new sound in that way. So I start from there then, and then suddenly sprang back into, baby, say it isn't true. You're never there, it wasn't you. It's more than I can do. Which has absolutely nothing to do with Birds of the High Arctic whatsoever. But that's the way it worked. So I trusted the thing that came out. So it led to some different juxtapositions of ideas and melodies. But the thing was, I didn't know what I thought of them. So when I'd written that song, it was originally a lot longer than the album version, which came in at about 6.5 minutes. It was about 9 minutes long. And I sent these little MP3s out to the band. And then when we got back together a few weeks later, it was like a few people said, "Oh, I love that High Arctic song." And I was actually genuinely surprised because I had no opinion about it whatsoever. I didn't know whether it was any good or not. So anyway, so that was my process. And that extended then after the early successes to working not just from my own lyrics, but back from other people's words. So there's 2 songs on the record that sprang from, one from a poem by Herman de Koninck, a little-known Belgian poet who's wrote "This Just As This Island Belongs to the Gulls." And I heard music in that, and that led to Gulls being written. And then a short story by Tarjei Vesaas, a wonderful Norwegian writer. I heard a couple of lines in his story just turned into a melody, and I took that away and turned that into the incredible. So all these ways, not every song was written like that. A lot of the stuff was written the way I usually write. So, I mean, it's not that I refused the things that came to me through my usual processes. My approach to making is to just finish as many things as you can and worry about whether they're any good or whether they're taking you in the right direction afterwards. It's a sense of momentum, like everything in life, that you want to generate, not the sort of weird writer's block. So
I love getting a peek into David Gray's mind. It's just like always really so illuminating about his artistic process. He's a fabulous artist as well, a visual artist. And since we've talked, you now have 2 kids. 2 kids.
2 children, yeah.
Yeah. And 9 and 12, right?
They are, yeah.
And so they have opinions about music.
They got lots of opinions. Yeah.
And what do they think of Mutineers?
Jolly it up a bit, Dad. Come on. That's their advice. You know,
David.
They want to party. You know, everything about their world seems to be about party.
A little beat, a backbeat behind it.
Yeah, they were looking for a bit of get David Guetta involved. That's like lots of sort of advice along those lines. So yeah, they're full of ideas.
David Gray, we're going to let you get back to the music. Thank you again for stopping by the Bing Lounge. I know it was so early. He's at the Edgefield tonight.